Hey everyone, good evening. This is Kim with Work Hard, Travel Well. If you're a U.S. citizen that's looking to know more about where we can go now, which countries are open to U.S. citizens to travel to, this video is for you. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Kim with Work Hard, Travel Well. And if you're new here, I talk about travel tips for busy professionals. And I post weekly videos on YouTube and Facebook. I'm going live right now on both YouTube and Facebook. So if you're here, do me a favor and drop me a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I see Dee Walker is already checked in. What's up, Dee Walker? She's on YouTube checking in. So go ahead and leave me a comment of where you're checking in from. I'm in Atlanta. And I want to share this video really quickly. I'm on Facebook too. I'm going to share it I have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/workhardtravelwell. And I'm going to share it to my group as well. Okay, I see Dee Walker checking in from Washington State. What's up? So, like I said, I post weekly videos around travel, and I really focus on professionals who are looking to travel more. I know myself, we're limited by a limited amount of PTO as well as vacation days. So I talk about tips to help you be able to travel more and take time off and see the world. So if you're watching from YouTube, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell for notifications. And if you're watching from Facebook, go ahead and and follow the Work Hard, Travel Well Facebook page. So I usually post a video on Sundays, but I'm going to be going live more often. So let's go ahead and talk about what you're here for. What countries are open right now to U.S. travelers? And I want to make this interactive. Go ahead and talk back to me so I know you're out there. And let's just make it a fun experience. And let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. This is not a video to say, hey, let's just go buck wild. You go ahead and travel, book those tickets. You should always do so with caution and do your research, which is what I'm going to be providing, ways that you can research for your trip. But also, the CDC is warning people to not just go crazy right now. And, cases are still on the rise, even though people are getting vaccinated. So I want to put that disclaimer out there. Don't come back and say, Kim said, we should travel right now. This is really tools and tips to help you so that when you do feel comfortable traveling and when it's safe to travel, you know where you're welcome and where you can go to. Also, these countries can change by the week, by the day. It just depends on what's going on. So I'm going to show you where you can find the most up-to-date information on which countries are open now for travel. And I've already have some videos on that you should check out in the description. I'll update the description that talk about traveling during COVID, as well as the vaccine passports. I did a video on that and what that entails. I know you've probably been seeing that a lot lately. I also have videos on what requirements there are when you're coming back into the US from an international destination. You have to have a test that you take, no more than 72 hours before you come back in. So let me know what questions you have, and let's go ahead and get into first, like where you can go to look up what is available, which countries are open. And then we'll get into talk about a little bit more about a few countries. Share my screen really quickly. And let me know if you can see my screen, everyone. Let's see. Okay, so let's start into getting into the where you go when you want to look up where you can go right now. And I always start with, of course, because of what's going on right now, you need to look at CDC's recommendations by destination. Yeah, and let's see. We see some D Walker says looking at Mexico to start. That's definitely like a good place to start. I know a lot of people have gone there. I was supposed to go there last year, but my flight got canceled. So at some point I would like to go back to Mexico. So here is basically CDC's recommendations by destination. And you can see which countries start out with, level 1 COVID-19 low, moderate, high, and very high. So that kind of gives you a place to start where you're like, okay, I want to know which countries have low cases of COVID-19. That way, if you feel comfortable traveling to that destination, you kind of already know what's going on. So that's the risk assessment. And literally breaks it down. And I'll include these links in the description. I'll update the description of these videos so that you can, click on them yourself and go and use those. And another important website I look at is the U.S. Department of State. I always look at this website. Say you picked out which country you want to go to. It's open to U.S. Citizens. And you go to like a country specific, you can go to a country specific page. So let's just go to Mexico because D Walker put Mexico, and I'll just show you an example. Let me actually make this bigger. Okay, so basically when you go to a country specific page, and this is on the US travel site and it directs you to the US embassies in Mexico, you can see, any alerts, messages for US citizens. You can also scroll down and let me go and do the entry requirement. So although the US has, you have to take a test before you get back into the US, this is a good place to see a direct link to each embassy. You need to look at each embassy of the country to know what are the advisories, what is their COVID-19 testing requirement. So does that country require COVID-19 tests upon, before you go or before you board your flight? What type of tests are acceptable? So I would encourage you, if you're not already, to bookmark this website, and this will help you know what are the requirements. So you know you already have to take a test when you're coming back to the US from an international destination. But now you need to, before you book anything, you need to understand what are the requirements to actually get to that country after you determine if it's open or not to US Americans. So that's the embassy page. So let's go to there are a couple of airlines that have interactive maps that help you be able to book a flight. And this is an example. So Delta has a Discover map, and you can literally see which countries you can go to that are open right now. And let me change this. And then you can even actually sort down to like which destinations that only have non-essential shops open, that have restaurants open, bars and cafes. So this is like really neat to have. And you can see the color coded here. It's open to visitors, open with restrictions, restricted entry, and destination not available. So yeah, this is a good place to start. You can put in your origin city and literally play around with that way. And other airlines that are doing it are US Airlines, as well as Iberia and LATAM Airlines. So let me know if you guys use, those airlines. I expect more airlines will come in to do this, but these are a good place to start. And if you're not even flying Delta or United Airlines, you can still go there and get some free information on where you can travel to right now. And another good resource is the NBC. Let's see. That's what's up. Turks and Caicos. That's a nice destination. Definitely want to go there. I've been before, but it's been a long time. So let's see. The other website is NBC News Travel Tracker, COVID Travel Tracker. And this is basically telling you which countries are open, the 16 countries that are completely closed. And if you scroll down, it has the same kind of color coding, almost the same, but basically fully open to the US, restrictions apply, and then closed, and closed with the exceptions. And then, let's see. And then it has, green if it's open for tourism, red, or it will have green under the COVID test requirement, and then quarantine requirement. So you can literally go here. Have you guys looked or considered, what places have you considered going to right now with COVID? Let me know, drop some comments. I know we've already talked about Mexico, but you can literally bookmark these places, and you want to check them often because, like I said, this is going to change a lot just depending on vaccinations, what comes about with the next couple of months, especially with vaccine passports and all that good stuff. So this is a neat website. So what do you guys, think of these websites? Did you already know about them? Have you used them? Let me know in the comments. Let's see. Okay. And I scrolled down because Browning Beachy noted that she is interested in going to Tanzania. So here you go. Green. Well, I don't know if this third green would make you happy, but there's a quarantine required. Again, the top ones are open to tourism, COVID test requirement, and quarantine. So you have the test requirement and you have a quarantine requirement. And also you have if you're in the US, you have take the test to come back. So definitely want to research the country that you're going to, what the testing is like when you get there. I've heard conflicting conflicting stories, based on the destination. Some hotels are providing testing, but I've heard in some countries it's been hard to get a test, and you want to factor that in because you don't want to spend your whole vacation, trying to get a test, especially if you have to quarantine. So that's things you have to factor in. Great. I'm glad this is helpful. So definitely let me know. Let's see. We have Vanessa who's watching on Facebook. She's in my Facebook, the Work Hard, Travel Well Facebook group. And she just said she just canceled her trip because she was stressing about the requirements to get in and to come back home. And that's definitely why I think a lot of people aren't like traveling right now. But at the same time, experts are expecting people to do like revenge travel where we're like trying to make up for the past time we haven't been able to travel. And some people are going to be going pretty hard. But I thought I would be traveling, but I just don't want to. I haven't really wanted to experiment yet with the testing and all that good stuff. I'd have to go to a place where I know the testing is like provided by the hotel and like, I just have to be a little bit more comfortable with that. And I would have to go where there's not a quarantine because I don't want to use that many vacation days. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to, okay. That's good to know. So definitely want this to be like an open conversation. I see that Brown and Beachy said that the resort is offering testing on site in Turks. So that's really, really good to know. So love that we're like sharing best practices and information back and forth. So continue to do that. And let's go on to the next point. We've talked about the websites that you can go to. So the next thing is go back to a different screen. So basically where I saw a lot of these information too, I know you've probably seen a lot of articles. Let me make sure. I know you've probably seen a lot of articles out. There's one from US News World Report and where can Americans travel right now. And there's also an article that we're getting into about where you can travel when you're vaccinated. So that's the different thing. There are some countries that are closed to just US travelers, but if you're vaccinated, you can go there. So you have to know the difference between the two. So let's get into a few of countries that are open right now to US Americans. So number one is Aruba. Let me stop. Okay, so number one is Aruba. Let me know if you guys have been there already or if that's on your list. It's on my list eventually, but it's not like a top priority. But for Aruba, they're basically open. You have to provide a negative test no more than 72 hours before you arrive. So no more than 72 hours before you arrive for Aruba. And then, like I said, I know I keep saying this, but I want you guys to kind of factor this in. No more than 72 hours before you arrive. And then when you come back, the test must be taken no more than 72 hours before your departure flight. So that is with Aruba. And also you must purchase Aruba visitor insurance to ensure that you are covered if health issues arise. And that insurance it basically varies based on your age, based on like your length of stay and things like that. So that's a separate insurance. I don't know if you guys have purchased like travel insurance anyway. I have started purchasing travel insurance because for health reasons, like, just like with this Aruba travel insurance, if something were to happen, I want to make sure I'm covered. Also, I've purchased insurance. I use World Nomads. I'll leave a link to my like insurance comparisons once we're done. But I basically want to be able to make sure my gadgets are covered. Like I travel with my camera, my drone, like my phone. So if something were to happen, I get the insurance that covers like lost baggage and my electronics. So that's just like a sidebar on insurance. So let me know. Have you ever purchased insurance? And if not, let me know why not or why. But that's the reason that I purchase insurance. And it's been very beneficial because although my credit card offers a certain amount of insurance, it's very limited. And I like to, like I said, I want to be able to cover my gadgets when I'm traveling. And shout out to Brown and Beachy for the super chat. If you're watching, you can send me a super chat if you find this video helpful. And or you can send me a coffee. I've included the links in the comments. So thank you so much for the support. And again, let me know where you're watching from. We got Washington State. I see Atlanta. And then if you're watching this video while on the replay, comment where you're watching from during the replay and comment any questions if you have them during the replay. All right. So that's for Aruba. I don't see anybody commenting about insurance. I don't know if you guys are using insurance or whatnot, but for Aruba, you're going to have to purchase their insurance 72 hours, and then the test 72 hours before you get there, and the test when you're coming back. I see Veronica says it's on the list one day. So she's like me. It's on the list one day also for me. Okay. And while we're on the subject of insurance, Brown and Beachy mentions that Turks require the insurance to specifically say medevac, not just emergency evacuation. I thought that was interesting. That is definitely interesting because that's interesting. And I'm curious. When I went to Turks and Caicos, it was really expensive. So I want to know if it's still that way, Brown and Beachy. So that's kind of like the factor in if it's still expensive, and then you have to get the certain insurance, and then this testing and all that good stuff. You just got to factor that in. But Turks and Caicos is really nice, but to me it was expensive. But this was some time ago. Like I rented a car over there. Like at the time, the gas was like $6 a gallon and stuff like that. So I'm curious to know if it's still expensive there. Okay, we got Vanessa checking in from Bronx. I wonder how the weather is up there. We're going through we had crazy tornado almost a week ago. Rain. It's hot. Pollen. I'm in Atlanta. So yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Shout out to D Walker for the super chat of $4.99. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And let's move on to the next one. Okay, so Bahamas. You might see a theme as far as which countries are open right now to U.S. citizens. There are a lot of countries open, but a lot of Caribbean countries are open with caveats that we're discussing tonight. Okay, so the Bahamas is welcoming American travelers, and you must complete a travel health visa application and provide a COVID-19 test no more than 5 days before departure. So visitors are also required to opt in to health insurance that will cover them for the entirety of the stay. and the cost of which is included in the travel health visa application fee. And basically, you're no longer, before Bahamas, you were required to vacation in place. So it's probably like a quarantine, basically. But if you're planning to stay for more than 5 days, you must take a rapid test. And of course, everyone must be wearing face coverings and subject to fines. So that's another thing. Not only should you like research where it's open, but you need to understand the restrictions that are going on. They are subject, if you don't wear a mask in Bahamas, you're subject to fine. So that's important to know, because you don't want to get caught out there slipping, or like even for a second. You just want to know those things, because I know there's a lot of people in the US who are just like, they're against masks and whatnot. So the Bahamas, you can actually get fined. And going back to Turks and Caicos, it's affordable now due to COVID-19. And normally, what? So yeah, I've been wanting to get back to Turks and Caicos. So now I'm kind of like, hold up, when I see the 208 a night, because like she said, it's normally 900 a night. So that's very interesting. Unfortunately, my passport is been sent off for renewal, so I have to wait till it gets back. Crossing my fingers that it gets back in like 2 months, time for the summer. So yes, let's go on. Okay, so the next one is, and then while we're playing this, let me know if you've been to Bahamas or if that's on your list. It's on my list eventually, but definitely probably not anytime soon with all those requirements for me. Okay, so next is Brazil, which I know at one point it was a lot going on in Brazil. So I was kind of surprised to see that Brazil is open right now to US citizens. And, people, the US is advising against travel to Brazil because there's a level 4 advisory. And if you go back to the links that I provided earlier, where you can go to the US travel site, you can see what level advisories each country is. And Brazil is level 4, which is basically do not travel there. And you can even go into that advisory and see why they say don't travel there. But there is a lot of coronavirus cases in Brazil right now, according to US travel. And then also, of course, Brazil has always been known for like the crime that's there. So basically, Americans can travel there. You have to provide a negative test taken no more than 72 hours before boarding the plane. And you have to complete a traveler's health declaration form. And there are some procedures like for health screenings at the airport, but no quarantine. So that is about Brazil. Seems like a little less than what we just talked about the Bahamas. So yeah, Brazil is on. I definitely want to go to Rio. I want to go to Iguazu Falls, and Brazil's been on my list, but I want to go. Like sometimes I travel solo, but this is a destination I want to go with someone there. Okay, Colombia. This is my favorite. Like you probably just saw my eyes light up. This is actually where I went to Guatapé, which is like outside of Medellin. And I actually walked up these steps. It's literally almost 700 steps to the top to get some views from the top here. So Colombia is open to US citizens right now, and it's like one of my favorite places because one, from Atlanta, it's like a quick flight. I had to fly JetBlue to get there. Flew through Fort Lauderdale. I have some videos on my channel about like what this hike up this Guatapé was like. And I also have some videos about like solo travel there, Cartagena. And yeah, it's basically you can travel there with a proof of negative COVID-19 test, no more than 96 hours before your departure. So that's a little better. And then I know I keep saying this, and then you have to test that when you come back to the US. And you basically have to complete an immigration form, and you need to be prepared for like further screening when you get there. So there's a lot of great things to do in Colombia. Cartagena and Medellin are two like of the popular ones. I flew between Cartagena and Medellin and then took the bus to Guatapé, which is what you see on the screen. And this is like where everybody is at the top, where I went to take pictures and everything. So it's a really neat experience. If you haven't been to Colombia, I definitely recommend it. Let me know if you've been, what parts of Colombia you've been to in the comments. Okay. Next is Dominican Republic. And Dominican Republic, I've been there, and it's something. Oops, scooping ahead now. Okay, so Dominican Republic, let's get into that. You basically are permitted to visit the Dominican Republic, and you have to you must basically fill out a form that says you haven't experienced any symptoms, COVID-related symptoms in 72 hours. You have to provide contact details for the next 30 days, and it's like in their traveler's health affidavit. And you could be like temperature checks and things upon entry when you come into the airport. I actually traveled to the DR, and I can't remember what was going on at the time, but I remember they took my temperature anyway back then. So they're doing it now, of course, due to COVID. But this one is a little more not as strict as the others as far as like, insurance requirements as of now. And you basically have to state that you did not have any symptoms. And I would hope and pray that people are honest on these things. I know when I've flown within the US, we had to check off when we checking in on the kiosk, we had to say like, we haven't been exposed to COVID. We don't have any symptoms. And even like at the desk when I dropped my bags, they had signs that says like, you are agreeing, basically saying that you don't have these symptoms. And so it sounds like this is what you need to do in the DR, but you have to actually fill out a affidavit. And one thing about the DR is, as of now, there is a strict 9 to 5 curfew in place, and 7 p.m. to 5. Wait a minute, 7 p.m. to 5 on the weekends. So yeah, it's even more stricter on the weekends. So if you're looking to visit DR, let me know. I would say if you go, like, make sure you take like activated charcoal or something that helps with like stomach bugs. Like the majority of people I know, including myself, when I went to DR, have gotten sick. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but after that trip, I started to take like activated charcoal capsules to help with like stomach sickness or stomach viruses. Okay, so next, you already saw it probably, is Egypt. And if you're visiting Egypt, you need to have basically a test that is taken no more than 72 hours before arrival. And there's no required quarantine. And, there may be some restrictions within the country. So going back to that website that I pulled up earlier, where you can visit the embassy of each country to learn more about the travel restrictions, that's going to be so important, because it's not important just to say, where can I go right now? You need to know, like, what's actually going to happen? What do I need to be prepared for when I get there? Okay. And Ghana is open right now. And for Ghana, you basically need to, you see a trend here, you need to be able to, you need to provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test taken no more than 72 hours before leaving for your trip. There's health screenings in place, and you must take another rapid test when you get to Ghana for $150. That's on top of the tests that you may have to pay to get expedited, or, in the US. And then you got to take a test when you get on the way back. So you have to pay for this test on your own. And let's see. Yeah. So the $150 test, I looked at going to Ghana because I've been wanting to get back to an African destination ever since my last trip before the pandemic was to South Africa and Victoria Falls. And when I saw that $150 plus all the other stuff at the time, I would rather wait, because I'll get to that later on. But what it's like to travel during COVID, I kind of want to wait to some more things are open. And I don't just mean the country being open. Like, I need like things to be open. So when Delta has on their website, you can look at like non-essential businesses that are open and restaurants and stuff like that. That's important to know, because you don't want to get there and just be like literally staring at your hotel room or Airbnb the whole time. Like, unless you just want to, work from that destination and get out of the US. But yeah. Anyone been to Ghana during COVID, or has been? Drop some recommendations for Ghana in the comments, and I'll highlight them. Okay, so Ireland is next. And for Ireland, you can basically go if you can provide proof of a negative COVID test no more than 72 hours before arrival. You need to this is different. If you enter without a test, you can face fines and even jail time. So I've been saying this the whole video: research, 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 restrictions, rules, laws, everything, because you don't want to be stuck, and especially not in jail over this. And in Ireland, you're required to quarantine for 14 days after arrival, unless you can take another COVID test, which can be administered a minimum of 5 days after you get to Ireland. If you then test negative after that minimum of 5 days, you don't have to do the whole 14 days in quarantine. There's a note in here that says that Ireland is basically advising against non-essential travel. So like I said at the beginning of this video, this is not like, hey, you guys need to travel there now. Like, this is what's open now, so you kind of know, and then plan accordingly. Okay. And that's a good point. about look to see if you need a vaccine as well for these different destinations. I have a video about vaccine passports. It's in the comment. It's actually in the description already. Okay, so Jamaica is the next one, and this is another place I've been to that I enjoy and I want to get back to. And for anyone traveling over the age of 12 to Jamaica, you need to provide a COVID-19 test, basically proof of that from an accredited medical lab is noted. And you basically need to do a travel authorization application to enter the country, and it must be completed no more than 7 days before you arrive. And at one point, I thought they were doing insurance, like you had to have travel insurance as well. So let me know if you guys have heard that, but I don't know if they've done away with it. I don't see it here, but that's what it was at one point. Okay, so next we're going to go to Peru. And this is on my list, definitely for Machu Picchu. Not at this time, though. But that's one of the reasons why I want to go to Peru. Peru is open right now, and it's open basically as long as you can provide negative COVID-19 tests taken no more than 72 hours before you depart. And then there's health screenings at the airport. So this one is a little, Jamaica and Peru seem to be on the lesser side of, what's required to get there, to get in. Okay, so next is South Africa. That one went by too fast. Next is South Africa. And basically, South Africa, definitely a good destination. And you have to present a test. This is, again, no more than 70 negative COVID-19 test results. And the test must be taken no more than 72 hours before you depart. And if you don't provide test results, you have to quarantine at your own costs. There's like a nightly curfew in place. I've heard reports of people that have been over there. Like a lot of stuff is not open. I think I saw reporter Travis Levius say that they weren't even allowed to drink alcohol. So that was definitely interesting. So noted about South Africa. This view is from Table Mountain. This was my last trip before the pandemic. So I've been thinking fondly of these memories right here. Have you guys traveled during the pandemic? Let me know. I know we've already talked about, Brown and Beach. You just got back from Turks and Caicos. Let me know what your experience was if you've traveled during the pandemic. Iceland. So this is one of those countries that is open, but with caveat. This is open. Iceland is open if you have taken the vaccine. So let me pull up. So it's basically Iceland is open right now if you've taken the vaccine. And let me see if there's anything else. You basically have to provide a vaccination card when you travel. And there are no actually curfews in place right now. And so, yeah, that's Iceland. It's not open to just every U.S. tourist. It's basically open if you've been fully vaccinated, fully. And Iceland is a interesting time. I've been there and got to see the Blue Lagoon. I went during February of a year because that was a good time to see the Northern Lights. So if the Northern Lights are your thing and you want to see it, definitely research when's the best time to see the Northern Lights. I actually did not, even though I did not get to see the Northern Lights, even though I went during a time that you are supposed to be able to see it, just due to the weather. So Iceland, that's why you see this asterisk, is due to you must be vaccinated, fully vaccinated. And that is all that I have. But I showed you at the beginning the COVID travel tracker, and there are basically a total of 70 countries that are open right now to Americans. So I'll put the link. I didn't want to go over all 70 tonight. And like I said, this can change at any time. Some other countries that I want to talk about. 1 second. And I'm just looking at something because someone asked, let me go back to that question. Kimmy Vet asked about Portugal, and I'm going back to, let me share my screen so you see it. Not sure if you saw this earlier. Okay, so let's share this really quickly. Not sure if you saw this earlier, but why isn't it? Okay, so this is the COVID travel tracker from NBC News, and they're going to be updating it. Right, they're going to be updating it a lot. So let's see. So you can literally type in your country, and on this website, it shows it's in yellow. So it's open with restrictions. And it says US citizens cannot travel directly from the US to Portugal for non-essential travel. Only Portuguese nationals, holders of the US of Portuguese, EU member residency permits, and holders of another long-term visa and U.S. citizens who are lawful residents of the EU may enter Portugal. And so, yeah, basically, unless you fall into those categories, you cannot travel to Portugal right now. This is a really neat website. Like, literally type in your country and breaks it down. And basically, all authorized travelers from the U.S., if you fall into those categories, must present a test within 72 hours before boarding. And mandatory quarantine for illnesses, those under active observation, and those basically suspected of being infected with the COVID-19. COVID-19 right now. Yeah, so definitely no problem, Kim. Kimmy Vet. Name, we got the same name, Kim. Okay, so Let's go into next. I want to talk about really quickly the sites that are where you can travel to if you're vaccinated, which is even less than, of course, the countries that are open. And some, they aren't often the same. So if you're fully vaccinated, you can travel to, I've already talked about Iceland. You can travel to Belize. You can travel to Ecuador, Georgia, Guatemala, Slovenia, and that is all. Seychelles, and that's all I see for now. And Romania. So, are any of those on your list? And that's for if you're fully vaccinated. D Walker says travel is on hold for now. Just working on my visa. Got you. Understand. Like I said earlier, my international travel is on hold anyway. I'm waiting to see how things play out. But I want to make sure, well, one, I had to get my passport back. What a year for my passport to expire. So this is a reminder to check your passport expiration. Mine stays locked up in my safe. And I checked it last year and I'm like, crap, my passport expires in 2021. And not only does, it's important to pay attention to when it expires, but that website I showed earlier, the US Travel and Passports website, it basically shows you entry requirements. So have you guys ever looked at like entry requirements for like how long your passport must be valid after you like arrive in that destination? Well, I have, because my passport expires in August. So I knew that starting in February, there are certain places I couldn't go, basically, because there's a lot of countries where your passport has to be valid for 6 months after your like trip there. So if your passport expires in, let's say, if your passport expires in May and you're traveling somewhere this month, and they have a 6-month validity rule, you will not be able to go there. But if it just says, and actually, let me pull it up. I'm not sure if you guys have looked at that before, but let me go back to that website to show you. And let me know while I'm pulling this up if you guys have ever looked at it before I go into all this. But yeah, let's go to it. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, so I'm on it's basically travel.state.gov. And I showed this earlier as where you can go to get direct links to the US embassies, or not the US embassies, basically the embassies of each country. So you can learn about what their COVID-19 travel restrictions are and just in general. So you come here and let's just say, let's go to the example of Mexico and put that in. And here is the passport validity that I was talking about. So for Mexico, your passport must be valid. So it doesn't matter about the 6 months, but for Mexico, that's why you might see a lot of people going to Mexico. It's quick and easy, it's cheap, and your passport just must be valid at the time of entry. So it doesn't have to be 6 months, like I was talking about. And I even go here to look at what visas are required when you're going to countries. So this is a very important page, and it talks about the entry requirements and everything. And then it talks about, this is the level I was talking about earlier with Brazil. It was level 4, which is do not travel. Mexico is reconsider travel, and basically exercise increased caution due to crime and kidnapping. And you can read more. Let me give an example of a country that has the 6-month validity that I was talking about. And I think South Africa is one, because like I said, I've been wanting to get back there, and I was looking at it last year, trying to see if I could go this year. No, it's not. Maybe it was Ghana. So basically, this is 30 days. So your passport must be valid 30 days past when you arrive. And I'm glad you guys are finding this helpful. This is like literally my process when I'm researching a trip. I usually try to spot check really quickly. Like if I see a flight deal, I spot check really quickly these different sites, so I know if I want to hop on that flight deal, because I'm not trying to get bamboozled and just buy a flight deal that I might not even be able to take. Like what happened last year, I jumped on a flight deal to Mexico, and they basically canceled it like the day before. But I already knew I wasn't going at that point. It was a matter of time before they issued a cancellation on that flight. Let's see if Ghana is one. And to get here, you go to this website and you go to international travel, and you can type in your destination. Here it is. So for Ghana, you must have 6 months validity on your passport. So like I talked about earlier, if I wanted to go to Ghana right now, I wouldn't be able to go because my passport is not going to be valid for 6 months past my arrival and basically trip date. So that's why I went ahead and mailed mine in, even though it doesn't expire to August, because, if I want to be able to go to these places, I will have my passport. I will keep you posted on that. I might do a video on the process and go into that later. And it even talks about vaccinations. I know a lot of people are like on the frenzy of, should I take the COVID-19 or should I take the vaccination for COVID-19? Because basically, they don't want to, or people are kind of like on the fence if they want to take it to be able to travel. But, there's already vaccinations in place for some countries that you have to take anyway. So, but I'm not here to talk about should you or should you not. I don't want to get into a debate about that. So that is just what you need to look at when you're planning a trip. And that was a little sidebar, but I thought it is very helpful for us to discuss it. And the last thing I want to go over really quickly is cruises. I don't know if you guys are, into cruises. I'm not a big cruise person, but I thought I would share information on when cruises will go back into when you better take cruises again. And there was an article again for U.S. News and Travel that says, when will cruises resume? Let's see. So basically, and if you're just joining, definitely make sure you say hello, drop us a note of where you're watching from, where you're basically, wanting to go when you feel comfortable traveling. And if you're watching on the replay, be sure to let me know in the comments of where you're watching from and any questions that you have. And a quick sidebar, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're here and turn on the bell for notifications. And if you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow the Work Hard, Travel Well Facebook page. And if you find this video helpful, you can send a super chat on YouTube, or you can buy me a coffee. It goes towards my storage fund for like my video space, as well as like the equipment I use to broadcast these videos. So I appreciate all of your support. Okay, so let's go into cruises. So AMA Waterways will resume. This is as of now. Literally, this could change, but AMA Waterways resumes cruises on May 31st. American Cruise Lines, March 13th. American Queen Steamboat Company, April. So basically this month. Let's see. Carnival is expected to resume cruises in June, but they are working to finalize COVID-19 protocols for future voyages. Celebrity Cruises aims important to sell again in June, and basically they are recommending for Celebrity Cruises to passengers basically to heed the advice of the CDC. Costa Cruises, May 21st. Crystal Cruises, July 7th. And Disney Cruise Line, June 2nd. And then Disney is talking about, of course, COVID-19 testing and health screenings. Holland America is July 1st. MSC Cruises resumed on March 28th, but most U.S. cruises are closed until at least May 2021. So that's important to note that, these cruises are looking to resume. Cruise lines are looking to resume, but need to check on the ports that are actually open, delve deeper into that. I won't really go into that tonight. Norwegian Cruise Line is July. Oceania Cruises is July. Princess Cruises is July. Regent Seven Seas is July. And Royal Caribbean is June. So those are a few. And Viking Ocean Cruises June. So it looks like a lot are June. Virgin Voyages is July 4th. So very interesting on, cruise lines are resuming. So are you a cruise person? I'm not really a cruise person, only because I feel like by the time what I spend on the cruise ship, I'd rather just fly to a destination and do like an all-inclusive. It's been a while since I did a cruise, but at the time, like alcoholic beverages and even like certain sodas and juices weren't included. You had to pay like for a beverage package. At the time, there was no Wi-Fi. You had to pay for the Wi-Fi. I'm just like, whew, it was a lot. And then I get motion sickness anyway, so that's that. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Be sure, like I said, to subscribe. I post weekly videos. I usually post on Sundays, but I'm trying out different days for additional videos that I want to do to post. So it looks like this is a good crowd for Thursdays. Let's see if I missed any questions. D Walker looks like she's the same way. There are a lot of restrictions right now. But I think I've answered everyone's questions. I appreciate your watching. I appreciate your super chats and your comments. Like, I love talking to you guys. I don't ever just want to be talking and I don't want it to be presentation format. I want this to be interactive. So you can connect with other travelers in the comments. If you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook group, Work Hard, Travel Well Squad, and you can connect with travelers in that group. So if you want to continue this dialogue outside of outside of, this video. But until next time, I will see you on the next